In this video we will summarize one of the films entitled Triad, release on 2012. Spoiler ahead, watch out, and take care. At the beginning of the film, we will be shown a man with glasses walking in the market. His name is William. Apparently he is in the market to meet and help his mother who is selling. While helping his mother, suddenly he and his mother were attacked by a group of thugs. Fortunately there were two friends who saw the incident. They were named Edward and Derek. Edward immediately helped William, while Derek contacted Patrick, who is a member of the Triad, the strongest gangster in the city. When they were beaten by the thugs, Patrick came and immediately kicked them out. That night they drank together. William immediately told Patrick if he wanted to join the Triad gang. But Patrick hesitated because he saw William's face that was not suitable to be a gangster. But William persisted in wanting to join the gang, because he wanted to be strong so he could protect his mother. Hearing William's reasoning and seriousness, Patrick finally accepted him to join. Moved to a bar, where Edward, William and Derek were seen celebrating William's birthday party. But while enjoying a drink, Edward saw a woman who was almost passed out and immediately helped her. The woman said if there was a man who put something to drink. Lucky the woman had time to see the person's face. Edward immediately approached and cursed at the person. William, who saw the incident, intends to separate them. But suddenly they were attacked by a group of unknown people. Luckily they were able to escape from that place. On the way this woman asked to stop, because she was not strong enough to run anymore. Edward immediately asked the woman, who the mysterious man was. The woman only answered that people often called the man Kong. It turns out that Kong himself is the son of a gang leader named Sun. After the incident, now Derek is being targeted and wanted by gangsters under Sun's men. Patrick finally decides to evacuate Derek until the situation is safe again. Patrick, who had promised Moon to reconcile the incident, decides to go to Sun alone and apologize for his sister's behavior. Until Patrick manages to reconcile, moves to a campus, which shows William has now successfully graduated and is a graduate. He also continued to train his fists to make him stronger. While he was training, he was surprised by the arrival of Derek. Patrick immediately invites them to meet Moon. Arriving there, Moon looks happy because he has a member with a bachelor's degree. After the meeting, William walked home and wanted to buy food. There William accidentally saw a woman and William was naturally attracted to her. While looking at the woman, two people came who were disturbing her. William, who saw the incident, immediately rushed to help her and chased the two people away. And this woman's name is Michelle. Sin moves to a club. Here it can be seen that William is now tasked with managing a club. William was notified by his men if there was a commotion. Then after arriving, William was surprised because the one who made the fuss was his old friend named Bobby. Bobby, who already knows that William is now a gangster, intends to introduce him to his boss. While in the room, William met and chatted with Bobby's boss named Jack. Jack, knowing William is a gangster, then gives William a job to collect debts from people who don't want to pay. There Bobby convinces William to accept the offer, so that Bobby doesn't get fired. Because he couldn't bear to see Bobby's condition, William was forced to accept the job. A few days later William managed to do his job, and gave the proceeds of the bill to Jack. William also got the wages that Jack had promised yesterday. While chatting with Jack, William looked surprised to see Michelle, who was being beaten by Ken and some of his men. This happened because Michelle purposely splashed the drink on Kim's boss named Irene. William begged Irene to let go and forgive Michelle. But Irene didn't want to and mobilized her men to beat William. Michelle, who saw William being beaten badly, decided to take him to an alleyway. There Michelle asked who the real woman was. William replied, if Irene was his sister-in-law and had the same level as Patrick. And the thing that made William even more surprised was that Michelle was Jack's daughter. Sin moved to Patrick, who met Irene somewhere. There Patrick apologized for what happened at the club last night. Patrick also asks Irene to forgive William. Sin returned to William, whose name is now increasingly recognized by many people and getting more and more clients. One day, after accompanying Michelle to meet his friends, William went out of the restaurant to calm his mind, because Michelle's friends despised him, although now William has succeeded in becoming a debt collector. Because of that, William and Michelle ended up fighting. While they were fighting, they were suddenly approached by a mysterious car that immediately kidnapped William. Well, it turns out that these people are envoys from Ming, Irene's husband. William was beaten and beaten badly by Ming. Without any fear at all, Patrick came to Ming and managed to save William by holding Ming hostage. After that incident, William was determined to train even harder, to become stronger and more ruthless than Ming. William also swore in front of his mother's grave, otherwise no one else would dare to humiliate him. Sin moves to Ming, who is being advised by the leaders. However, Ming doesn't accept it because he feels that Moon is more on the side of William and Patrick. Then Ming decided to leave Moon's gang, and threatens to fight Moon one day. After that incident, Patrick got an assignment from Moon to stop Ming's stupid actions. Patrick immediately went to Irene to negotiate and told her to stop her husband's actions, but Irene refused, and even supports her husband's actions. After hearing that, Patrick didn't stay still. He orders Edward, Derek and William to find and capture Ming alive. But while carrying out his duties, William deliberately kills Ming in an emotional and vengeful state. William wants to prove that he is more cruel than Ming. Sin moves to a cemetery with confidence and relax. William goes to Ming's funeral. Not to forget, William also paid his respects to the late Ming. However, Irene looks very resentful to William and intends to kill William to avenge the death of her husband. One day, William, who was heading to a place, saw his men beat someone. William decides to go down and see who's the one being beat up. When he saw the person, William remembered his past. It turned out that the person was a former thug who used to scold his mother in the market. William, who still had a grudge against the men, immediately ordered his men to beat the men again. Long story short, now William looks really successful. He also founded a debt collection service company. Then one day, on a ship, William met someone named Ho to talk about a business. At the same time, Moon announced, in 2 months' time, he will retire as the leader of the Nine Dragons gang. Irene, who heard this, immediately proposed Qin as a candidate for leadership of the Nine Dragon gang. Irene is sure, if Qin is able to become a worthy leader and deserve to lead. William, who didn't want to lose, goes straight to Patrick and asked to nominate himself as a candidate. Patrick initially refused, because being the leader of the Nine Dragons gang is a cursed job. But William again reassured Patrick, and said if Qin was elected as leader, Irene will be arbitrary to them. Well, after being convinced by William, Patrick finally agreed to William's plan, and willing to help him to make him a candidate for leadership of the Gang of Nine Dragons. Long story short, in the end, William was chosen as the candidate. Irene and Qin, who heard that, did not accept it, and plans to kill William. Irene then ordered someone to kill William, so that he wouldn't be suspected by Moon and Patrick. Sin moved to William, who was escorting one of the leaders of the Nine Dragons gang to go to his car. Then on the way home with Edward, suddenly they are attacked by mysterious people. Fortunately, they managed to escape from the attack, but they are stuck at a dead end. There is one place that is not locked, because you don't want to see William go through a bad thing. Edward pushed William and locked him. Edward then sacrificed himself and fight alone against all those people. But unfortunately, Edward had to die because he couldn't hold back too many of them. William saw it, screaming hysterically and crying, because he had to see his brother was beaten to death. After the incident, Derek is angry with William. Derek also thinks William is the cause of Edward's death. Derek told William to stop and not obsessed with gangsters. But William would not listen to Derek's advice, and still wanted to avenge Edward's death. Heard about it, Derek is forced to sever his kinship with William. Sin moves to Qin, who has just finished being interrogated regarding Edward's death case. Qin went straight to Irene. Irene, who saw it, still told Qin to continue his plan. But Qin refused, and challenged Irene. Now Qin realized, if he was only used by Irene. Back to William, who met with Michelle. There Michelle asked William to stop being a gangster, then married her and went with her to America. But William did not immediately accept the invitation. William asked for time to solve the problem first. Michelle, who heard this, was disappointed and told William to stay away from her. On the other hand, Irene again ordered someone to kill William. Lucky Patrick heard the news from his men, and intends to stop Irene's action. But when Patrick's men were watching Qin suddenly attacked by a group of people to death. Patrick, who heard the news, was shocked. Different from William, he looked calm, because there was no longer a rival to be the leader of the Nine Dragon gang, and thought that he would definitely win. Then, when William met Michelle and wanted to answer Michelle's invitation, suddenly came a group of mysterious people who immediately attacked and stabbed William mercilessly, until finally William died in Michelle's lap. At the end of this film we will be explained if this group of people is an order from Moon. Moon actually doesn't want his position to be replaced by anyone. Moon plans to kill all the candidates and make Irene a scapegoat. We will also be notified if the group of people who killed William is the person who used to really idolize the figure of William. This person used to be just like the geeky William, and now he had managed to become a ruthless person. Although in the end we can guess, maybe he will have the same fate as William in the future.